and welcome to Timeless with Julie Hartman Live. It is Monday. Happy Monday, everybody. It is Monday, March 18th, 2024, to be exact. I always say one of the benefits of this show is that you actually learn what the date is. They do these street interviews with people where they say, what's the date today? And it's amazing how few people can get the real date and can even get within the week. But you can hear it right here on Timeless with Julie Hartman Live. Great to be with you. I'm Julie Hartman. We have Sean McConnell in the producer's dungeon. Hello, Sean Z.
Hello.
I just heard myself echo. I heard Sean Z. E. Fascinating. Guess I just get to hear my voice over and over. 1-844-861-5537, 1-844-861-5537. Please call in. We have a lot to discuss today. Of course, you can always use the chat if you would prefer to just stay behind your keyboard and not talk with me in real time, but I welcome both forms of communication. Some background, we're going to be talking first about this whole Trump bloodbath thing. You know, that Donald Trump allegedly called for violence or predicted violence if he did not win the election. He's this terrible dictator. Well, of course, that is a total left-wing lie that they have peddled in order to smear him. And I think that is just going to end up backfiring more so on them than, of course, the former president, because it's like the boy who cries wolf. You cry it enough times, then if a real thing actually happens that deserves our attention, people aren't going to be so eager to trust. So we'll be talking about that first. Then we will be discussing Haiti and all of the terrible violence that is going on there, and some U.S. involvement in the past that I think that we ought to know about and pay attention to, that casts some context on the situation right now in Haiti. And then in the final part of the show, we'll be doing an old style, timeless, random topic segment about the amazing complexities and abilities of the human body. The human body is the most complex and amazing force of machinery, and all of us have it. If you're listening to it, you have it. But few of us actually know what a feat it is, this body that we're living in. But first, I'd like to start the show with some random topics and kind of look back on the past week and ask, okay, well, what happened between last Wednesday and this Monday that we need to discuss? Because, as you know, Timeless with Julie Hartman Live is Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Dennis and Julie is on Sundays at that same time. Then we pull Julie Noted segments. So what happened over the past week? Well, there was that whole TikTok thing, which really, I don't know about you, Sean, but I don't think that story is as big of a deal as people are making it out to be. Because what happened is that the U.S. House of Representatives passed this bill, which, by the way, was a bipartisan bill, which essentially said that TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, had to sell its assets here in the United States to a buyer that is amenable to United States interests or is more aligned with U.S. interests. And yes, that sounds like a big thing, but first of all, this passed the House. This has to pass the Senate in order to be law. And second of all, you know, people really are going to find a way, I think, to use TikTok anyway. So people on both sides, regardless of what you believe, were kind of up in arms about it. No offense to them. I didn't think it was the huge news story that people made it out to be.
I think that's a good point, that people will find a way around it anywho.
Of course.
But it does raise a couple questions. Should the government be telling private businesses when and where they should sell and to who?
Right.
Also, should Silicon Valley or tech companies be the moral barometer of what is fed to the people, or should the government have an entity that oversees that? I think those are two questions that it raises.
Well, you know, and both of those are valid. And what's fascinating about this story is that actually it really is kind of bipartisan. It's bipartisan in its support, and it's also bipartisan in its condemnation, where you can't just go, oh, well, the right. I think Republicans are generally more in favor of banning TikTok than those on the left. But again, this had bipartisan support, at least in the U.S. House. But I think both of those concerns are completely valid. On the one hand, one can completely understand how it is not ideal to have the government policing or controlling what the American consumer consumes. But on the other hand, as we discuss on this show all the time, we are dealing with a particularly fierce adversary in China. And this is modern day warfare. Little sneak peek later this week, I'm actually going to be doing a few long minutes, several minutes, in fact, on this show about China's psychological warfare. Sun Tzu, who is, the master military legend in China, he wrote The Art of Warfare. The first article in his manual, if you will, on the art of warfare is try to subdue your enemy without fighting them. And TikTok is one of the principal ways that China is trying to do that. And what they have seized through TikTok cannot be underestimated. They have access to Americans' personal data. They even can get access to your financial records, through that. They can look at what you type. They can look at what you message. It's very scary. So I think we really are dealing with something different here. And at the very least, passing this in the House, even if it doesn't go to the Senate, even if, nothing comes of it, I hope it may be sending a small signal to China that at least some people are on their case. And some people are aware of what they're doing and they're not okay with it. Let me know what you think. If you've thoughts about it, especially if you disagree with me, let me know in the chat. But obviously that was the big thing in the past week. The second thing was there was another chapter in the saga of the Nathan Wade and Fani Willis case where a judge ruled that Fani Willis, who's the district attorney of Fulton County, Georgia, who is behind the whole Trump racketeering, stealing the 2020 election case, this judge ruled that DA Willis must fire the special prosecutor who she hired to go after former President Donald Trump, Nathan Wade, because they were in cahoots with one another, to put it in a graceful way. So this judge ruled that Willis had to let go of him or she would lose control of the case. So she bid adieu to her former beau, maybe current beau, who knows? Maybe they're getting bonding over this experience of being exposed. And so Nathan Wade stepped down. And the election fraud case against former President Donald Trump is continuing under Fani Willis's oversight and jurisdiction. What could you expect, right? I mean, I think most of us knew this is how it was going to shake out. They couldn't get rid of both of them, so they had to pick one, and it's better for them to keep Fani Willis at the top. Whatever. We'll update you as things unfold. Maybe there's more to this story, but that's the main thing. Yes.
It started as Fanny, and now it's Fani.
Fani.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fanny or Fani.
I think
Tomato.
Fani now.
I'm glad I know that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, it's good. Like joie de vivre. I've been working on that so that you don't come after me about it anymore. So that's kind of the second thing. And then this third random thing I wanted to share with you before we move on to the Bloodbath saga comment is I listened this weekend to Barry Weiss's interview with Abigail Shrier. Abigail Shrier is a great author. She wrote this really sobering and fascinating book called Irreversible Damage about these young people who don't think that they are their gender and they're getting all this gender affirming care. And it's mostly Shrier observes it's actually young women thinking that they're men. And in the past, before gender dysphoria was a fad, when it actually was like a real diagnosable rare illness, it usually worked that it was mostly young men who were thinking that they were women. But anyway, she exposed that now, with all of the other incentives and things going on that are making these kids transition, it's more so women to men. Anyway, you should read that book. Great book. She just wrote another book called Bad Therapy: Why Kids Aren't Growing Up. I'm very much hoping to have Ms. Schreier on this show. She's incredibly busy, so it may not be for another few weeks. But I listened to that podcast between Barry Weiss and Abigail Schreier, and I think it is something that everyone should listen to, because it is so accurately describing what is going on nowadays with young people in America. And it's not just, obviously therapy and emotional support is kind of a rich people phenomenon or a rich people problem. Obviously if you can afford therapy, that puts you in a different socioeconomic class than most. However, what this book reveals is that this kind of way of thinking, this medicalizing human emotion, giving intense emotional support to everyone about literally anything, it's actually coming into American public schools. And as I was listening to this, and again, she just outlines that this crazy stuff, like she has this great line, and I just said it, that Abigail Schreier says that nowadays we're medicalizing normal human emotion. So if you're shy, it's that you have social anxiety. If your cat died and you're sad, you're depressed or you're a victim of trauma. And Abigail Schreier just shows really that this is messing people up, and because it's making them question every emotion that they have. And it's making them think that every single emotion is valid and permanent and indicative of a larger psychological issue. And so as I was listening to this, I kept thinking, how did we get here? That's the question really with every news story, every book that comes out. I'm just always kind of going back to that as my North Star. How did this happen? Obviously, a lot of it is that we live in an incredibly affluent society where we have the privilege to be offended by innocuous things, where we have the privilege of getting emotional support if our cat died. Obviously it's that. But I think there's another thing too. And it's that we in the United States have really adopted this mantra of research and expertise and data and seeking out professional opinions. And I think that's good in a lot of ways. It's very good in some categories, but sort of in categories that pertain to human nature, or categories that pertain to your emotional well-being. There's only a limited amount of research and data compiling and all of that you can do. For instance, if you look at American colleges and universities, if you look at their STEM departments, their STEM departments now are being very infected by DEI, but if you look at what we've been able to accomplish in engineering and science and technology, it's really amazing, because our knowledge in that could always grow. It can always expand. It always needs more research. But with regard to human nature is unchanging. Human nature rests upon certain eternal truths. And I think what we're in now is that people are trying to make breakthroughs in, therapy. They're everything is medicalized. Everything has a term. Again, one of the things Abigail Schreier said is there's this whole new part of psychotherapy where they diagnose what's called summer anxiety, where kids over the summer have increased anxiety because they're not playing with other kids as much as they are in school. That is applying the research. We have to break ground. We have to come up with new theories, new diagnoses. That is being funneled too much in the emotional kind of human nature arena, and it's leading to this insanity. Yeah, Sean. I always feel like I'm calling on him in school.
I also feel like this stems, pun intended, from another issue, which is the breakdown of the American family. And
of course.
The breakdown between parents and children. Parents used to be above their children rather than best friends and catering to every need. And in doing that over the generations, we've created soft children and all these, you know what I mean? Like when I was growing up, it was the self-esteem movement and you had to have self-esteem. And now it's the spectrum and the gender and the diagnosis for all the things that maybe 100 years ago wouldn't have been an issue. There used to be, when I was growing up, it was the living room or the adult table, and now everybody's best friends and buddies. And I think that's part of this breakdown.
But parents, to your point, in addition to being buddies instead of really kind of enforcers or disciplinarians with their children, they also are they're also handing over their parenting to professionals because they've been fed this brainwash like, oh, well, the therapist knows best with how to deal with my kid here. The emotional support manager knows best. And that's where I'm talking about, where we've been fed this load of, I'm sorry, but BS, that in the emotional arena, in the human nature arena, we need to abide by data and research and professionals and therapy and emotional support. And it's the over-analyzation of human nature in that department. That's what's led to this gender stuff. It's been people at universities who think that they need to be groundbreakers in the realm of psychology and in the realm of human emotions. And they've come up with these insane ideas that men are not really men and women are not really women and sex is is a construct and it's not biology. Like that is the research university gone too far. Whereas in math and STEM and all of those things, more research, more, advancement, that is always good. But in this realm, the professionalization and overanalyzation has led to this harm, and parents are buying it. They think there's something wrong with them. They don't understand it.
The great irony is we live in a time that is amazing and incredible.
I know.
And we're weaker than ever before.
Well, totally.
It's really crazy.
It's a paradox.
But the world is amazing.
I know.
We have all these things at our fingertips, and yet we're just breaking down.
And especially in America, that's just the extraordinary thing, that we are the most privileged, affluent, secure, prosperous, opportunity-laden generation to ever exist, not just in American history, but in world history. And yet we're the most medicated, depressed, etc. So anyway, I guess all of that was just to say, Give that podcast a listen. They're not paying me to advertise them. I just think it was so good that everyone should know it.
An update, according to Zach, she went from Fani to Fani, and now she's going from Fani to phony. Phony.
Ba-doom. I like that. All right. Actually, speaking of calling people names, let's talk about Donald Trump and this whole bloodbath thing, okay? So we're not going to spend too much time on it. I'm sure that you know what's been going on. But basically, Donald Trump was at a rally. He used the term bloodbath not to refer to a call to violence. It was used in a totally different context, and now the mainstream media is basically saying dictator Trump wants to, behead people. Let's listen to what he actually said.
Mexico has taken, over a period of 30 years, 34% of the automobile manufacturing business in our country. Think of it, went to Mexico. China now is building a couple of massive plants where they're going to build the cars in Mexico and they think that they're going to sell those cars into the United States with no tax at the border. Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us now, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. But they're not going to sell those cars. They're building massive factories. A friend of mine,
Okay, so when he's saying this, he's clearly talking about it in the conversation of China's outsized role in electric car manufacturing and selling. And he said, oh, if I'm not elected, it's going to be a bloodbath with regard to that economically. And then he says, oh, that'll be the least of it. What I surmise he's saying there is like, that's just going to be one problem of so many if I'm not elected. But come on, if you are a person with more than 2 brain cells, and if you are a person who is acting in good faith, anybody can understand that he is absolutely not saying that he wants a bloodbath, that he is calling for a bloodbath. It is so beyond dishonest, I can't believe we even have to discuss it. Let's look at what Nancy Pelosi said, though. They've predictably jumping right on this and spinning it to their benefit.
We just have to win this election because he's even predicting a bloodbath. What does that mean? He's going to exact a bloodbath? There's something wrong here. How respectful I am of the American people and their goodness.
Pause. This is revelatory. Okay, when she's saying, oh, I'm so respectful of the American people. I just, we have to talk about this horrible dictator Trump. This is what I wish that more people understood. When they are lying to Americans so easily, it actually shows that she doesn't have faith in or respect for the American people. It actually shows that she thinks the American people are stupid enough and so easily bought off by their BS that they will just buy their lie hook, line, and sinker. That's something that I think about a lot, which is lying to someone or BSing them. That's actually a form of contempt because you don't respect them enough to tell them the truth, and it kind of indicates that you don't think that they have enough intellect to know or care that you're trying to sell them a bill of goods. Oh my gosh. Whenever you do that, for some reason, I think of another Nancy Pelosi thing. Remember when she ripped up the speech at the State of the Union? Remember when she was sitting there and convulsing? I remember watching that. Is she okay? Is she about to fall over?
She said it. Something's wrong. There's definitely something wrong with her.
But do you take my point? Do you agree, Sean? I mean, this to me is so disrespectful to the American people, and it shows that she thinks the American, and it's not just her. I mean, if you go look at NBC, CBS, MSNBC, I was watching CNN this morning. I know Sean's going to cut in and go, why the heck were you watching CNN? I just like to torture myself sometimes. They were doing it. They were teasing a segment this morning. They're like, we're going to talk about this, that, and what Donald Trump said about if he's not elected coming up on CNN. They're all peddling this bloodbath hoax.
You say she's lying, and clearly what she's saying is not true. But I think it's so twisted and they're so far gone, they don't even know they're lying. And we saw it last week when they went at her over what he reported.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't agree with them or buy into, if you don't repeat their narrative, then you are to be shouted down, you are to be canceled, you are to be dealt with. And it's so crazy because it's not the truth. But you know what I'm saying? I think it's so far gone that I don't even know that they know they're lying. I think they think they're saying the right thing. It's
See, this is actually the classic debate with Dennis and me that we talk about on Dennis and Julie, where I think Dennis is more so, and I don't mean to speak for him, but given our Dennis and Julie episodes, he is more in your camp, where he thinks that they really believe what they're saying and that they really believe that he was calling for a bloodbath. I have to respectfully part company with you guys. I actually think that's giving credence to their bad behavior. I actually have more faith in them. I don't think they're that stupid. I think they know exactly what they're doing. Now, people like Nancy Pelosi and the headline writers at NBC are very different from the average American. I think, speaking of the whole, bad therapy stuff, I think a lot of younger Americans especially I think they truly believe in the garbage because they've been brainwashed and inculcated to believe this. But I don't think Nancy Pelosi really is so far gone that she believes. She knows damn
That's why
well.
it's so scary. I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so. That's what makes it so scary.
See, I think what makes it scary is she actually knows better, and yet she is so corrupt that she is willing to push this lie on the American people.
No, it's even scarier. It's like Yuri Bezmenov was talking about. You can present this woman with the facts, and she won't recognize it. Hillary calls you a bag of deplorables because they don't know how to deal with facts.
So do you think...
And they're so far gone. That's why it's super scary.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, look, I see where you're coming from. Again, I part company with you. I think this is true of most Americans. They are the victims of the Yuri Bezmenov outline that we discussed last week. I'm going to discuss more this week. Yuri Bezmenov was a KGB, what would you call it? Was a KGB member? Member of the KGB, I don't know. I don't know what you would call a member of the KGB, but he was in the KGB in the Soviet Union, and he defected to Canada. And he wrote this chilling outline of the 4 kind of steps of ideological subversion that the Soviet Union concocted in order to, apropos of our conversation about psychological warfare, in order to topple the United States. And one of the things that he says that the Soviet Union tried, and I think has succeeded at doing, is demoralizing the population. And by demoralizing, he doesn't just mean like demoralizing in terms of making you sad, making you unambitious, making you unenergetic. He literally means like demoralizing, like unraveling your moral code, unraveling your moral instincts, your ability to see truth, know that it is truth, and distinguish that from lies. They have been on this ideological campaign to unravel that. So yes, Sean, agreed. Most Americans are like that. I think Nancy Pelosi knows exactly what she's doing.
And the bottom line is, whether she's openly lying or intentionally lying, or she's clueless, that side of America is twisting what Donald Trump said, and it's bad for everybody.
It's bad
because it's a waste of everybody's time.
It's bad for everyone, but as I opined earlier in the show, 25 minutes ago to be exact, I actually think it's the good news is I actually think it's worse for them, because I have enough faith in the American people that they can see through this. And it's so discrediting. But then again, as we talk about all the time, there seems to be no limits to how absurd and irresponsible and inhumane the left can get, and many people will still vote for them and support them. Anyway, let's just, there's, I think, like 20 more seconds of this clip. I just want you to hear the rest of Nancy Pelosi on CNN talking about Big Bad Orange Man.
But how much more do they have to see from him to understand that this isn't what our country is about? Praising Hitler, praising the Russians.
Praising Hitler?
Honestly.
Are you kidding? Praising Hitler? Come on. It's so gross. But you know what it is, too? And in addition to, I think them just being corrupt and bought off and wanting to do anything to suppress this guy, they may think that they are engaging in what is called a noble lie. And this is maybe giving credence to your point, Sean. You know where I stand. I think she knows exactly what she's doing. I don't think she really believes that Donald Trump is this huge threat. I think that she sees it to her benefit to spread this misinformation about Donald Trump so that Joe Biden will get elected and the Democrats will stay in power. But there may be a part of her and other Democrats who think that they know they're doing something dishonest, but they justify it to themselves because they think that it is avoiding the greater evil of another Trump presidency. That's the whole, but you see this happen over and over and over. I mean, this is what they did in 2020. Again, to say it for the 80th time. I think they know exactly what they're doing. I think they're power hungry. I don't think they're that principled. However, there may be some who, like the 51 ex-intelligence officials who said that the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation, some of them may have thought this guy is so evil, even though we know that this is not Russian disinformation. We're going to tell the American people that because we have to do something to save our republic from this guy. Like, you know, and Dennis brings this up. I've heard him talk about it on his show where he says, like, you know, if I could go back to Germany in the 1930s and do something that was maybe immoral, but it would have prevented Hitler's rise to power, wouldn't we have done that? Of course, right? And so maybe some people, of course, Trump isn't Hitler. It's obscene and highly offensive, I believe, to even compare him to Hitler. But some people may think they're doing the equivalent of that.
Yeah, and therefore anything is justified. One of the top stories in the country is that Keith Olbermann suggested in a tweet, he put the video up of when Donald Trump said he's being treated worse than Lincoln. Remember when Trump said that? And of course, Lincoln was assassinated. So Olbermann writes, there's always hope. So he's hoping that Trump would be assassinated. And that's justified.
Yeah.
Because he's so bad. Orange Man's so bad. Orange Man Hitler. It's just a crazy narrative. We all need to take a step back.
See, that's why I hesitate to even kind of give them this out of the moral lie. Not that, as I'm saying it, I'm intending to give them an out. I do believe some people really believe this, but Trump is not, we're not dealing with, we're not dealing with a situation that is worthy of a noble lie. And it is incredibly irresponsible and destructive to behave like this is the situation that we're in. It is incredibly irresponsible and destructive to say that Trump is Hitler. We're so privileged. We don't even know what that kind of evil is like. And we're ascribing that kind of evil to someone with whom, those individuals politically disagree with. It's gross. And we in the United States don't understand. I think we're getting to the point where we're going to very much understand, but we collectively don't understand the power of a lie, the damage of lies. I mean, if you look at the most evil, corrupt regimes in all of history, let's look at the two biggest ones in the 20th century, Hitler's Germany and Stalin's Soviet Union. What were they built on? Lies. Lies on lies on lies. Lies that the Jews were inferior. Lies that they were protecting workers. They would pick people who they didn't like off the street and lie that they did something they didn't do to throw them in the gulag. Lies on lies on lies. And obviously we're not in that horrible place yet, but we use lies as weapons. They're using this bloodbath lie as a weapon to destroy who they see as a threat to them. And they think that it's a justified weapon, but the more that we allow lies to spread, it is going to metastasize into something that is out of our control.
And with the advent of the internet and social media, there's that famous line, a lie travels around the world 3 times before the truth gets its shoes on.
Mm-hmm. I've never heard that. That's a good one. Another lie that recently came out as a lie is that the Trump White House did not push to have the National Guard present on January 6th. This is a news story. This has been exposed by Mollie Hemmingway, a fantastic journalist. She writes for The Federalist. And she combed through transcripts, from the January 6th committee, which was headed in part by former Representative Liz Cheney. And she found that this January 6th committee falsely claimed that they had, quote, no evidence of the White House's push to have the National Guard present on January 6th. But then, thanks to the great reporting of Mollie Hemmingway and others, what they found was that actually, a year after January 6th, in January of 2022, the January 6th committee was conducting an investigation, and they interviewed members of the Trump White House, including the former deputy chief of staff. And this is all in a transcript. And this deputy chief of staff, among others, gave evidence that individuals in the White House, including Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, and Donald Trump himself, had wanted and pushed for the National Guard to be present on January 6th. And so this was in a transcript. The January 6th committee knew about it. Representative Cheney was present for that when that transcript, for that interview, in other words. And nevertheless, they still said that they had no evidence that the White House had pushed for National Guard troops, and they suppressed that transcript from being made public. But this has happened so many times. So many, literally, how many times can this happen, right? The Russian collusion hoax, the Hunter Biden laptop story, this National Guard thing. It's always like huge lie about Trump. And then the lie is allowed to be accepted as truth for years. And then once the lie becomes debunked, people are like, oh, that's old news, whatever. But this is their strategy.
I do believe whether it's intentional or ignorant,
right.
It is evil.
Yep. And that's what matters. At the end of the day, results are what matter more than intentions, because results are the things that we have to live with. We don't live with intentions. We live with what happens. And yep. But here's the thing, you could go and tell this example among others to hardcore Trump haters and it just won't change their minds. They'll go like, oh, well, that was an oversight. Everybody does it. Both sides are bad. Both sides lie. Both sides try to suppress the other. Welcome to American politics. That's what they would say. Okay, let's talk about Haiti. Whew. My gosh, it's bad. Get ready for it. Yeah, so that's barbecue over there. That's the name of the gang leaders. I was listening to Ben Shapiro this morning, and he was talking about the whole bloodbath lie with Donald Trump, and he was so funny. He made this like little quip where he was like, the mainstream media is trying to act like Trump is barbecue, and bringing about a bloodbath. But yeah, let's talk about this in Haiti. So, in case you are unaware, Haiti right now is being completely overrun by intense gang violence. And so what happened is this man, Barbecue, that's his nickname, one of the main gang leaders, he has come together with other gangs in the country and essentially come together to topple the already kind of sham and non-existent government and bring about a new Haiti. Well, they're not bringing about a new Haiti. They're bringing about the greatest destruction that the country has probably ever seen. But what they started with doing is that they attacked 2 prisons in the country, and they released over 3,000 prisoners in those prisons. They have taken over the streets, essentially become the de facto police force. They ran over and now control the international airport. They razed the presidential palace. So essentially, they've gone into these government buildings and taken over, and now they're essentially the government. Let's just watch a quick video of some of the violence that's ensued.
Have attacked 2 prisons, allowing thousands of inmates to escape and leaving dozens dead and wounded. Violence has reached unprecedented levels since the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse at his home in 2021. It's estimated that gangs now control as much as 80% of the capital, Port-au-Prince.
Armed gangs have set up roadblocks in many parts of the capital, Port-au-Prince, following an explosion of violence. People drive and walk by bodies lying in the streets, some with their hands tied behind their backs. Police officers are among the dead, overwhelmed by coordinated attacks.
So basically what has happened is that these gang members were taking, and Haiti's always been really ravaged by gang violence. But what's happened is that over the past few weeks, these gangs have had more and more power, and they called for the resignation of this individual, Prime Minister Ariel Henry, who really had no power, quite frankly. He was just the stand-in person. They called for his resignation because former Prime Minister Henry had called on an international security force. He made a plea to the international community to send in troops, essentially, to restore law and order in Haiti because it had gotten so out of control with gang violence. And so Barbecue and his fellow gang comrades called for the resignation of the prime minister, and they were successful. The prime minister did resign about a week ago. So things have so descended into chaos and catastrophe in Haiti, that President Biden, among other world leaders, had these military airlifts to get rid of embassy staff who were present in Haiti. Over the past week, according to the United Nations, over 15,000 individuals in Haiti have been displaced. Last year, gang violence led to nearly 5,000 deaths in total in the country in Haiti. There aren't exact numbers right now about how much has happened, but if that number last year was 5,000 without it getting to this level, it appears that it is going to be at least that and perhaps many multiples of that number. And there are also reports that there is cannibalism going on in Haiti. And interestingly, as I was doing research for this, I was looking up cannibalism, to see the reports. And apparently there are some videos showing that this happened. However, it is unverified. And so interesting to come across all of these news articles where people were accusing the right in the United States of frothing up this narrative about cannibalism in order to smear Haitians, and specifically in order to smear Haitian migrants. Elon Musk was tweeting about what's going on in Haiti. He tweeted about the alleged cannibalism, and then he wrote a tweet essentially saying that the situation in Haiti is probably going to lead to an influx of migrants to the United States. And Elon opined that we ought to really do some screening, especially if some of those individuals are gang members who may have engaged in cannibalism. Well, the mainstream media, in turn, headlines, the right wing is, lying about cannibalism in Haiti. Rolling Stone published this article saying that right-wingers are xenophobic and that they're, again, just frothing up this narrative in order to scare the United States population and make them afraid of immigrants. It's like, for many of these individuals, fighting the right is of far more concern to them than actually wanting to understand the evil that is occurring in Haiti. And although it is unverified, would you be shocked if there were cannibalism going on in Haiti with what we just saw? And there are videos which allegedly show this cannibalism. I will be honest with you, I have not watched the videos, in part because, I don't really want to watch a video of someone cannibalizing another individual. But the point is, they're so obsessed with smearing the right any chance that they get. They should be focusing on the atrocities on the ground in Haiti, of which there are many. So basically, this guy Barbecue, he's saying that, he wants to bring about a new Haiti. Just a quick quote from him. He says, quote, "Now our fight will enter another phase to overthrow the whole system, the system that is 5% of the people who control 95% of the country's wealth." It's just, Haiti is in such a destitute situation that even if a new person comes to power, there is so much poverty. There is so much dysfunction in the government. There isn't even a government. There is so much starvation. There is so much disease. The infrastructure is crippled. I mean, it really is a failed state. And so I want to go back just for a few moments and talk about how Haiti got here. And obviously, I'm not an expert on Haiti. Obviously, there are many different factors, as is the case with any country's success or failure, or any individual's success or failure. You can't trump it up to a few things. There are a multitude of factors. But this history is revelatory. So, you heard, I think it was mentioned in one of the videos, that the president of Haiti was assassinated. This happened in 2021, and he was assassinated by Colombian mercenaries. So that, obviously, in the recent past is something that has gone awry in Haiti. 14 years ago, I was doing quick math, in 2010, there was a terrible earthquake, I'm sure many of us remember, in Haiti, that killed 160,000 people and displaced 1.5 million people. And then on top of that, there was a cholera outbreak in Haiti, really in part because of a United Nations humanitarian aid group that came to Haiti. Many say that they were incompetent. Others say it was an accident. But essentially, they accidentally, it seems, contaminated one of the main rivers that goes that is part of the country's water supply. And in turn, there was this terrible cholera outbreak in the wake of the earthquake. And then, of course, those are the two kind of big recent events, the assassination in 2021 and the earthquake in 2010, that have contributed to Haiti's malaise. But there's also a big colonial past, which is really interesting, actually, that Christopher Columbus landed on what's now the country of Haiti and declared that territory to be part of the Spanish Empire. And then the French came in, and then they kind of fought it out, and essentially they divided what is that area, and they split it into two. They made Haiti the French-controlled part, and they made what is now the Dominican Republic the Spanish-controlled part. And in Haiti, the French imported all of these African slaves from West Africa. They brought them to Haiti in order to harvest sugarcane. And then that Haiti became a French-controlled slave state and sent all of this sugarcane back to the French and to Europeans. And then, as we see here in this is a famous painting of the slave revolt, in 1804, Haiti had one of the first, or the most well-known, slave revolt, and they successfully got rid of the French, and they created the first Black republic in the world, which is really amazing. However, of course, it wasn't over from there, because the French made Haiti pay reparations for rebelling against their colonial rule. And so they had to pay in U.S. money between $20 and $30 billion over time in reparations, because the French say that they lost out on the slave labor that was harvesting the sugarcane. Anyway, this is just to say that Haiti had this colonial past. And certainly, in the wake of that colonial past, not everything can be blamed on the colonial past. There were these terrible dictators, incompetent governance. But it just shows you, over time, this has been an incredibly, incredibly, incredibly unstable place. Which brings me to this next part, which is very important, about the most recent involvement, specifically by the Clinton Foundation, in Haiti.
Oh, I'm glad you're going to bring this out. In 2010. It wasn't just the earthquake. There was a hurricane as well.
Oh, you're right. Yes, that's important. Yeah, thank you.
I remember just the whole country donating all kinds of money to the Clinton Foundation. Where did that money go?
Well,
oh, tell me, Julie.
Oh, good segue. Well, the point of my talking about this, in addition to the fact that it's very important to know about, is that it's interesting the way we kind of selectively care about U.S. involvement and U.S. mess-ups, where we're very aware of it in some countries, but then in other countries like Haiti, we don't care as much. I'm going to get back to that, but I want to talk for a few moments about what happened with the Clinton Foundation in Haiti. So when Hillary Clinton became Secretary of State under President Obama, she viewed it as one of her most important and prized policy propositions to try to, as she put it, help the country of Haiti. Now, according to my reading, Bill and Hillary Clinton always felt like they had this tie to Haiti. Apparently, they went to Haiti on their honeymoon, or at least stopped in Haiti on their honeymoon. But when Secretary of State Hillary Clinton became Secretary of State, she launched this campaign to take advantage of, quote, the power of proximity, that is our proximity, relatively speaking, to Haiti, to, quote, road test new approaches to development. And so Hillary Clinton put her husband, Bill Clinton, in charge as the chief of staff of the Haiti project. This was before the earthquake and the hurricane. This was in 2009 when President Obama became president and appointed Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State. And even in that first year, there were a lot of criticisms and concerns with regard to the Clintons' policies and strategies in the country of Haiti. For instance, in 2009, there was a law that was passed in Haiti which raised the minimum wage. Now let's pause there. I want you to take a moment and guess what you think the minimum wage was in Haiti. It's not that different from what it is today. I mean, there is no minimum wage in Haiti. The whole country is just torn apart right now. There's not even any kind of robust labor because it's overrun by gangs right now. But I want you to guess in 2009 what the minimum wage was in Haiti. Do you know the answer?
No, but I'm guessing it's very low.
How low do you think?
Like under $1?
It was under $1. So
Yeah.
the law wanted to raise it to 61 cents an hour from 24 cents an hour. So they passed this law in 2009 to generously raise the minimum wage by however many cents, 35 cents, 45 cents. 45 cents. Nope. Okay. It doesn't matter. History major, not math major. And the U.S. State Department met that law with fierce opposition. They made it very clear to Haiti that they did not want the minimum wage to be raised from 24 cents to 61 cents. 37 cents. 37 cents. I want the SpongeBob thing. 5 hours later. 18 cents, 25 cents. Okay, we figured it out. But this is what is important. The State Department did not want this minimum wage to be raised. Why? By 30. This is turning into a joke now. Let me just figure it out once and for all. 37. They didn't want it to be raised by 37 cents. And the whole idea was that it would make it anti-competitive because if they raise the minimum wage, then they're going to they're going to cut back on costs in other categories because they're paying their workers so much more. Essentially, the people who opposed it in the State Department said that it was better for Haiti's economic development to not raise the minimum wage. Okay, that's crazy because it was so small, and it is crazy because many of the same people here in the United States wanted to raise the minimum wage in the United States, which at the time was like $15 an hour. They wanted to do that for Americans, but they didn't want to raise it in Haiti by 37 cents. And the Clintons were not the only ones who were opposing that. It really was generally by the U.S. State Department. But it just shows you that there was some kind of weird and not so great feeling stuff with regard to Haiti policy. And then in 2010, the earthquake and the hurricane happens. And the President Clinton and former President George W. Bush come together and they create, with the support of then President Obama, the Clinton and Bush Haiti Fund. And the Clinton Foundation was a part of this, but also operating separately from this with its own Haiti relief. But essentially, Bill Clinton positioned himself as the dude in America who was going to raise money and try to help the destitute situation in the aftermath of the natural disaster in Haiti. So I want to show you a picture of the Clinton, or Bill Clinton, being hugged in Haiti by a citizen. I mean, people were so happy with the Clintons. They were like, oh my gosh, this is going to change everything, right? And they raised millions and millions and millions of dollars. Here's the problem, though. The Clinton strategy for rebuilding Haiti was very much focused on economic development instead of humanitarian aid. And that doesn't mean that it was totally ignoring humanitarian aid. But what it means is that it was more of a priority for them to bolster the economy and lure in foreign investors and businesses so as to revitalize Haiti. And they were very clear about this. This is a quote from the Clinton and Bush Haiti Fund. Quote, while other organizations in Haiti are using their resources to deliver immediate humanitarian aid, we are using our resources to focus on long-term development. But then it very quickly became clear that a lot of this money was not being spent on the things that it was claiming to be spent on. There were a lot of question marks of where all that money went. And the money that did go to certain economic development projects were criticized for benefiting foreign companies and foreign NGOs over actually the Haitian people. So just 1 year after the earthquake, and this is according to the great reporting of Nathan Robinson, a writer of in the magazine Current Affairs, he shows that 1 year after the earthquake, and he's quoting Oxfam, which is another news entity, Oxfam found that, quote, less than half of the reconstruction aid promised by international donors has been dispersed. And while some of that money has been put towards temporary housing, almost none of the funds had been used for rubble removal. So people were criticizing the Clinton-Bush Haiti Fund, and they weren't the only ones in charge of, international Haiti relief, but they were the main people as Americans, as American presidents, and as influential people. They were the main ones in charge. They were, you can see, being criticized that the money wasn't going to helping remove some of the destruction and rebuild. I mean, before you can lure in foreign investors, you've got to get rid of rubble. Frankly, you've got to get rid of corpses and bodies on the street. I mean, it is a massive campaign after an earthquake to clean things up and rebuild. You have to feed people. You have to give them health care. You can't just build a factory when a country has an earthquake. So these development projects, which may have been well-intentioned, many people are saying were just totally inappropriate for the time. Also, they were criticized, as I said, for benefiting these kind of big foreign companies. For instance, the Clinton-Bush Haiti Fund invested about $2 million in the Royal Oasis Hotel. Now, some people say that was good because they were trying to bolster tourism, but others go, you're giving $2 million to a hotel when there are people starving, buried under rubble, don't have homes, don't have health care, give it to them first. There were also these emergency shelters that were built improperly. One described them as, quote, shoddy and dangerous. And then there was this kind of infamous industrial project called the Caracol Industrial Park, which was very much trumpeted by the Clintons. They had this massive party rollout, campaign to give a lot of attention to the Caracol Industrial Park. And what essentially they were trying to do is build an industrial park so as to lure in a foreign investor, specifically a South Korean clothing manufacturer, to employ Haitians to stitch together clothing, and then that would start to kickstart and revitalize the economy. The problem is that although enormous amounts of U.S. taxpayer money went to building this Caracol Industrial Park, it resulted in Haitians being evicted from their land to build it. And once it was completed, it only operated at about 10% capacity. So people are going, wait a minute, they should have, foreseen this before and realized that it was too fast and too much to build this industrial park. Of course, it was only operating at 10% capacity when there were so many other glaring needs that needed to be met before people could even go to work. Quoting from Nathan Robinson, quote, for some, the Caracol project perfectly symbolized the Clinton approach. Big promises, an emphasis on sweatshops, incompetent management, and little concern for the actual impact on Haitians. And then a Haiti scholar, also according to Nathan Robinson, apparently said, quote, Caracol is a prime example of bad help. Yes, Sean.
Yeah, well, okay. There's a big chunk of this that matters, and it's the reason, I believe the reason behind why the Clintons are obsessed with Haiti, and it stems from when Bill Clinton was president.
Okay. And
Haiti, in 1970, Haiti imported 19% of its food. Okay? Now Haiti imports over 80% of its rice from the U.S. And this happened under Clinton, who demanded that they drop the tariff rates for American rice from 50% to 3%. And the majority of that rice comes from Bill Clinton's home state of Arkansas. So it's very insidious. If you look at the research on this, what happened when Bill Clinton was president, it explains perhaps why he's obsessed with helping Haiti. And this help has ruined the country.
Yep. And here's the thing that, thank you for interjecting that. Here's the thing that Nathan Robinson says so well. Many people believe that the Clintons, to your point, were acting in bad faith, that there was something that they were benefiting somehow by, benefiting their foreign friends and companies over actually the Haitian people, facilitating rice exports, all of that. But what Nathan Robinson says is even if they were acting in good faith, it was so incompetent. It was so mismanaged. It was so paying attention to what you think ought to be done instead of really looking at the situation and seeing what needed to be done. And Nathan Robinson says that alone is something that we ought to pay attention to and hold people accountable. Because as I said a few minutes ago, we don't live with intentions. We live with actions. We live with results. And the result is that this, whatever this fund was doing was so unhelpful. And then you notice there was this big pullback campaign where like they stopped talking about Haiti, they stopped holding all these events, they realized that it went really wrong. There was this memo from Chelsea Clinton, daughter of Hillary and Bill, who was somehow involved in this. And she wrote to her parents saying, quote, "The incompetence is mind-numbing," of some of the projects in Haiti. And then just quickly, sorry, this is so just really fast. This is so important. This is what one Haitian official said, quote, "I really cannot understand how you can raise so much money, put a former U.S. president in charge, and get this outcome."
Yeah, and you can tie George Soros to this.
Oh God, that could be a whole episode.
Went to Haiti with George Soros, and so it's basically the helping gentle takeover of a country and ruining its people in the name of leftism, in the name of helping.
Yep, in the name of compassion. Well, no wonder we saw this sign. This is a Haitian national in the United States who showed up to one of the presidential debates in 2016 between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. She's holding up a sign, as you can see, picture 9, where she's saying that Hillary Clinton should be in jail, where Hillary Clinton belongs, in a jail cell. Here is what former President Trump, when he was then candidate Trump, said to Hillary Clinton in a debate about Haiti.
And you take a look at the people of Haiti. I was at a little Haiti the other day in Florida, and I want to tell you, they hate the Clintons because what's happened in Haiti with the Clinton Foundation is a disgrace. And you know it, and they know it, and everybody knows it.
But when it comes to Haiti, Haiti is the poorest country in our hemisphere. The earthquake and the hurricanes, it has devastated Haiti. Bill and I have been involved in trying to help Haiti for many years. The Clinton Foundation raised $30 million to help Haiti after the catastrophic earthquake and all of the terrible problems the people there had. We've done things to help small businesses, agriculture, and so much else. And we're going to keep working to help Haiti because it's an important part of the American
They don't want you to help.
It's an important part of the American experience, she says at the end. By the way, you notice she doesn't point to anything that she did. She doesn't, usually you can say, I stimulated, this amount of jobs. We opened this. We brought in these investors. We did it. She goes, we have done things. Did you catch that? We've done things to spur agriculture in Haiti.
The irony of that clip, for her to say that when knowing the facts bear out that they ruined agriculture in Haiti. Devastated it.
Yes. So here is the really important thing. It's exactly what Sean just said. Whether it was great intentions gone wrong or very bad intentions gone right, the Clinton Foundation did not deliver on their promises and ruined Haiti. That is a fact. That is that doesn't mean that all of Haiti is ruined because of the Clintons. That doesn't mean that every problem can be traced back to them or blamed. But what is absolutely true is that we, the United States, got involved. We promised help. We raised millions of dollars, and the job did not get done. So here's what's here is what fascinates me. Let's zoom out on this a little bit, okay? Because right now we have this terrible situation in Haiti. And we also have, a lot of other problems around the world that we hear about: Putin's invasion of Ukraine, the Israel-Gaza war. And what fascinates me is where our national attention is being funneled towards. And obviously, I understand that, we're going to pay attention to countries that are primarily tied to our national interest, or kind of are very influential geopolitically. Obviously, Russia's one of those countries. Israel's one of those countries. So we're going to give a lot of attention to those as compared with Haiti because they just have more sway internationally. But let's look at woke people in this country. Let's look how outraged they are about what's going on in Gaza. this is what interests me. You know, we have people like we saw a few days ago. There were these protests blocking the entrance of the San Francisco airport, and indeed inside the San Francisco airport, against the alleged genocide going on in Gaza. We had someone self-immolate in front of the Israeli embassy because of the alleged atrocities going on in Gaza. And so we have a lot of people who are very outraged about what's going on in Gaza, who give a lot of attention to that. But then here we have a absolute devastating catastrophe, indeed, by many reports, cannibalism going on in Haiti. And we're not seeing sit-ins or protests at airports. We're not seeing someone self-immolate in front of the Haitian embassy. Why is that?
They also disrupted the Oscars. They were out there blocking
they just
people
everything
from getting to the Oscars. And before we move on, I remember living through this, all of Hollywood elite and uniting, trying to raise money for the Clinton Foundation to help Haiti. I remember Wyclef Jean from the Fugees doing a song, and he's Haitian. And if you for the interest of pronunciation, it's IAT. IAT, if you want to say it like a Haitian. But here in America, we say Haiti. Anyways, where did that money go? There's no way that money funneled down to help the Haitian people. That is clear and obvious, and there ought to be prosecution going on here. This is crazy town.
It is. And but this is the question. Why is there selective outrage? And why is there selective caring, you know? And people will go, when people are outraged about what's going on in Gaza or the alleged, you know, atrocities in Gaza, they'll say, well, we're extremely outraged about this because there's American involvement. Our taxpayer money, according to their argument, is going to Israel, and Israel is committing the genocide in Gaza, and that means that we're all complicit, you know, in the genocide because we're a part of this government which is supporting the genocide in Gaza. But then let's look at Haiti. I mean, our taxpayer money, our American involvement, far more went to contributing to the disaster in Haiti than what's going on in Gaza. I mean, to the extent that they're, you know, obviously I don't want to get into a whole discussion about this, about I will, but not on this show today, that is. But, you know, in other words, like whatever is going on in Gaza, the Israeli government is more, you know, responsible than Americans are right now. But in Haiti, I mean, my gosh, we have way more responsibility for what's going on in Haiti. And so again, why this selective outrage? And I think there's an answer that I just want to float. And I really think it has to do with race. Allow me to explain. We see this with crime in the United States, okay? When a black person is killed here in the United States, generally, people only really seem to care when it's a white person killing a black person. 97% of black homicide victims are killed by other blacks. But nobody cares when a black kills a black. They only care when a white kills a black. Because then it's like, it can be, you know, it can be made very political. And that always is very morally upsetting to me because it's like when a black person dies or when any person dies, their lives matter just as much regardless of who killed them, you know? Do those black lives not matter because they were killed by other black people? Their lives only matter when they're, you know, it's only like meets national outrage when it's a white police officer or a white individual killing a black person. That has always been very morally upsetting to me. Yes?
I think you should be careful when you say people don't care. I think people do care. I think what you mean is media attention and social media
Absolutely.
outrage.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
I hope I said it, and if I didn't, I'm so sorry. But generally, in our national discourse, the attention and the caring and the media reporting and all of that, thank you, is very, very much more centered on when a white person kills a black person than when a black person kills a black person, okay? But we kind of see this globally, too. We don't just see this in the United States. We see this all around the world, that outsized attention is given when a white country, I'm putting white in quotation marks because specifically with Israel, everyone goes, oh, well, Israel's like a white settler nation. It's actually not true. Half of Israel is not white. Just shows you but they're seen as white, right? But we see this around the world where when it's a white nation harming a non-white nation, that gets way more attention than when it's two non-white nations or non-white people killing and harming others. I really believe that's what's behind it, because there should be equal outrage or equal attention given to what's going on in Haiti with what's going on in Israel and Gaza. There should be equal attention to the Hutus and the Tutsis and the Chinese massacring, the Uyghur Muslims. But people generally don't quite seem to care about those things as much as when it is a, again, quote unquote, white nation harming a quote unquote non-white nation.
Or even the outrage in this country by Black Lives Matter. American Black Lives Matter. You don't seem to care when you're using your iPhone or your electric car who got harmed in mining the minerals that created that, do you?
Absolutely. There are these despicable videos of people in the Congo who are mining these minerals that we all use in our everyday. And we don't care about those Black lives because, again, it's not, at least overtly and directly, white people killing or harming non-white people. Of course it is, because we're the ones buying the iPhones. But unless it can be very starkly identified as white harming non-white, people don't care. And I genuinely think that's what's going on in Haiti, because we should be outraged by our incompetence, our mismanagement, all of that. But we're not, because it can't be so easily drawn as it is in other cases. And the final thing I'll say about that is that, to me, that's actually white supremacist. It really is. Because what you're essentially saying, it's not white supremacist in that you're glorifying the actions of white people, but it's white supremacist in that you're essentially saying non-white people's suffering only matters when it's directly done by a white person, or when I can say for my political purposes that it's directly done by a white person. That's giving the actions of white people outside, it's not paying any attention to when non-white individuals are harming other non-white individuals. And it's essentially saying that those non-white lives don't matter because they can't be talked about for political purposes. Just gross. But it's a domestic and international trend. This live has gone by really fast. I have a great segment about the human body, but I think it may wait because I don't want to rush through it. It's not long, but I don't want to rush through it.
Yeah, I think you're making the right call. We've been going for an hour and 10 minutes.
We've been going.
I think your point about the hypocrisy of selective outrage is a fine point to end on. And maybe we should save your excellent human anatomy lesson for another day.
But first we have to talk about MyPillow.
Oh. By all means.
I use a lot of MyPillow products, and by a lot I mean basically almost every MyPillow product. I sleep on a MyPillow, I use my towels, I sleep on the Giza Dream bed sheets, I wear my slippers, and you can get a lot of these products at a discount too if you use the promo code Hartman or call 1-800-566-6745. For a limited time, you'll get a queen size Giza Dream bed sheet set for $59.98, a king size for $69.98. Those are the lowest prices in history. You can also get 60% off of the original My Slippers. Those, if I had to pick, are my favorite MyPillow product because I wear them literally every single day. Go to MyPillow.com or call 1-800-566-6745 and use the promo code Hartman. You can get the famous Giza Dream sheets, as I said, queen size for $59.98, king size for $69.98. 1-800-566-6745 or go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code Hartman. That was kind of a big thing to end on today. We only care when it's white people killing non-white people, white supremacy. I know that was a lot, but this is the context in which I view news stories like this.
Let me draw a through line. You started with Donald Trump saying bloodbath and the falsification of what he meant being turned into something else, where the actual bloodbath has been taking place in Haiti. There's no talk about the evil done by the left in helping this country, which has actually ruined this country. And then
by Haiti, you don't mean this, you mean Haiti.
Right. Well, we have big problems in this country too, being the selective outrage and the hypocrisy of such. And I'm glad to be here. I'm so happy that you seek truth. And I think if everyone did that, instead of taking sides, we'd have a fighting shot at fixing this. But it's getting ugly. It's getting real ugly out there.
The TLDR today is that truth and suffering doesn't matter to many in the United States unless it can be spun for political purposes. What else is new, right? Another thing, human nature is mostly the same. And this has been true for all of human history, that this is what human beings do. And now we're just seeing it on full display in the United States. Thanks for being here. I hope that you enjoyed it. You can email me at julie@julie-hartman.com with any questions, comments, concerns. And I'll see you tomorrow right here on the Julie Hartman YouTube channel at 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern for another live. Take care.